Hello, friends. It's time for another edition of You Make the Call.
IBM presents You Make the Call.
The Eagles running back, whose last name is Swift, which is the antithesis of how you'd refer to the Vikings defense, he takes the ball near the goal line, and Harrison Smith has him dead to rights. Does Harrison Smith, A, make a perfectly fundamentally sound tackle, B, make a less fundamentally sound shoulder hit, knocking him down, C, make that shoulder hit to Swift but not knock him down and allow him to score, or D, completely whiff? The answer, of course, is D. You already knew that.
If you said so, then you made the right call.
If you put the letter S in front of Hitman, you've had my exact opinion of
Harrison Smith. Now, the play that perfectly exemplifies why the Vikings suck. The punt return early in the game, punt returner number 4, don't know his name, not going to look it up, fumbled. And there's this number 40 for the Vikings. I think his name is Pace Jr. Saw the ball bouncing right in front of him, and rather than diving on the ball, he went to block somebody. It just sums it up perfectly. Well, I could try to recover this, but I'll just try to block somebody and let somebody else handle it. Let somebody else worry about the important stuff. That's your Vikings team. That's Kevin O'Connell mentality there. Very passive.
And it all starts with me.
We're passive in Minnesota. We don't like to take charge. We like someone else to take charge. Because it wouldn't be nice to take charge.
Okie dokie, thanks a bunch. I'll let you get back to your paperwork then.
There's other examples of why the Vikings suck. Like, Eagles are at the goal line again earlier in the game, and Vikings defender, he just jumps over everybody. Like Eric Dickerson trying to score a touchdown back in the mid-'80s. It's like, no, you're supposed to hit somebody. This isn't the high jump. But he's a Viking. He's an idiot. The last play that exemplifies why they suck is the onside kick. I mean, I think you could take anybody off the street, and within 1 hour, they'd be able to do a better onside kick than that. And Greg Joseph has had his whole life, and that's the best he can do. But does anybody care? Like, in the locker room, does Kevin O'Connell say, hey, maybe you should work on that? No, it's just like, oh, well.
Bloody frickin' dog!
We did our best. Good job, guys. We'll get them next time.
You know, there's a lot of areas where we can focus on as a staff to play more complementary football.
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
My takeaway from this game is the Eagles were very beatable. Very beatable. But we beat ourselves. We ensured we could not beat them. Fumble after fumble after fumble after fumble after fumble. Defensive breakdowns. I mean, we were playing pretty bad. Yet, we were leading midway through the second quarter. And before you know it, you're down 20, the game is over. And then it's garbage time for Kirk Cousins. Then the 3 garbage touchdowns come in to pad his stats. And he had a fine game, other than the obligatory fumble, but those 3 touchdowns were meaningless. The O-line is awful. Unbelievably awful. I mean, I don't know how we draft guys who aren't any good, and they're always hurt. Other than that, they're great. And we're mentally weak, but we're also physically very weak. We still have this awful run defense. We get out-muscled on offense and defense. But the good news is we drafted a wide receiver in the first round. That's going to really help our physicality. But it is good to see the defense so much tougher without Ed Donatel.
Stop chewing that gum.
Not right.
Frightening.
It was all Ed Donatel. Anyway, our awards for this week, the play most reminiscent of the Alex Kittner shark attack from Jaws. That was that second play of the third quarter where Cousins fumbled. It just looked like a feeding frenzy, like the USS Indianapolis, like just sharks, like there's chum and blood in the water, and they smell it. And that's how we come out at halftime. We come out scared. We come out bleeding. In the defense, the other team comes out like a bunch of hungry sharks. Me trying to get my new wife to let me touch her elbow with my pinky award for the most pathetic display on earth. That goes to this play in the first quarter where Cousins takes the snap and immediately trips over, I think, Schlottman, the backup center's feet. Just immediately. But even if he hadn't, he would have run right into the tight end who was in motion. It was as if like they just wanted everybody on the team to just converge on one spot just to make sure that there would be a collision. Is this meant to be a joke?
It's just a show.
Are we on candid camera? My ex-wife shaving her legs award for something that happens once a year, that That was where Cousins stepped up in the pocket to make a throw. He moved in the pocket, didn't just stand there and get sacked. The Kirk Cousins Award for garbage passing statistics, that's Kirk Cousins all the way. 3 garbage touchdowns. Down 27-7, he turns it on. More of those empty stats that the fanboys can point to at the end of the year. Look how good he was as they lost game after game. The Everson Griffin Award for failing to keep contained. I'm invisible. Get it? In the second quarter, our cornerback has the option of going outside of the tight end to keep contained or cutting inside, leaving the outside completely open. Worth pointing out, there are 2 other Vikings defenders on the inside who can handle that, presumably. So what does he do? He jumps to the inside, leaves the outside open, and Hurts gets 8 yards. The award for sucking so bad for so many years and being so overrated, that goes to Harrison Smith. Obviously, that whiff on the touchdown run. And, of course, as always, just leaving the center of the field wide open.
But watch this. I just talked about how these safeties are getting deep. This time, Harrison Smith, he doesn't. Kind of holds his ground, opens up the back end, and there's the home run ball. For a touchdown pass while he's covering nobody. Richard Simmons Award for getting manhandled.
Howard Stern.
That, of course, goes to Harrison Smith, as usual. Run over by a tight end. The award for a guy so slow that even Stephen Hawking could have outrun him without his wheelchair. 2 candidates for that this week. Harrison Phillips. I think it was Harrison Phillips. I think a dead person. I think Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's could outrun him. But the winner is Evans. Can't remember his first name. Not going to look it up. Number 21 for the Vikings. There's a touchdown pass. The receiver for the Eagles kept slowing down to the point where he was almost just walking. And yet Evans still couldn't catch him. That's some hardcore slow. The Ed Ingram impression of the week for a guy who couldn't block his own mother. First candidate is Ezra Cleveland.
You leave the big man, Jordan Davis, all alone, one-on-one against Cleveland.
But the winner is our backup center, Schlottman.
His presence felt last week and does so again tonight.
Oh, man. Schlottman, the backup center.
His presence felt last week and does so again tonight.
Oh, man. Schlottman, the backup center.
A guy who's not good enough to beat out Garrett Bradbury for the starting center position. The out of context Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy clip of the week. And last, I'm going to close with my butt cheek clench of the week. So, as you know, I'm newly married. And my new wife, got a call from her sister this week. And her sister called to inform my wife that she's getting divorced. And she told my wife, quote, "I feel so free." And my wife hung up the phone, went back, looked out the back windows of our house, kind of stared off into space, and said, "I'm free, aren't I?"